Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to install SQLite, SQLite Studio, and a sample database. And we are going to see how to use the SQLite Studio interface. Let's start with SQLite. Let's download SQLite. SQLite download. Type SQLite download in the Google and you will see this page. From here, you can go to download page. From there, you can download SQLite for Windows. Let me click on this link. Now we see several links. We'll scroll down to pre-compiled binaries for Windows. Now under Windows section, there are three links. I choose the third link, and this link downloads a zip folder which contains executable files. So three executable files. We are going to download those three executable files, okay, compressed onto our operating system. So we have downloaded SQLite. Now let's download a graphical user interface for SQLite application, which is called SQLite Studio. SQLite Studio download. Click on this link and download SQLite Studio. Now we have downloaded the required files. One is a zip file which contains three executable files which constitute the SQLite application, and the another file is executable file which is SQLite Studio, that is a graphical user interface for SQLite. So let's go to download folder. Now here we see the downloaded files. Okay. Now I'll go to C drive. In the C drive, I'll set up this application. So we'll create a new folder and we'll name that folder as SQLite. SQLite. Now this is the folder. And in this folder, we are going to copy SQLite application files. There are three executable files. So we have already downloaded the zip file here. So I'll extract the zip file, extract all. So we are extracting everything here. Okay. Now, the extraction helps us to access three executable files. I'll copy these three executable files to the SQLite folder I created under C drive. So to this, I'll copy the three SQLite executable files. Now, this is a GUI CLI application. So when I open a CLI application, we can see a command line interface. Here we can use commands to work with database. However, I don't want to do that. I want to use graphical user interface. So I create another folder under SQLite folder. So let me create a new folder by name GUI. Okay. Now we already downloaded SQLite Studio, which is an application to access SQLite graphically. So it gives a graphical user interface. So I'm going to install this SQLite Studio into the GUI folder. So I'll do that. So let me double click on this. So the installation started. So this is the installation visa. We have to accept the agreement. Click next, and I click next again. So where do I want to install? So I want to install it under C drive. So under C drive, there is SQLite folder. Under SQLite folder, there is a GUI folder. This GUI folder is for SQLite Studio installation. So I click OK, and I click next, and it will start installing the application into that folder. So you can see, new folders and files are created in this folder, GUI folder. So are we done with the installation? Let's see. Yeah, we are done with the installation, and we can launch the SQLite Studio now, but I'll launch it a little later. I'll uncheck this. I'll finish the installation. So let me go back to the SQLite folder which I created in C drive. So we have extracted the SQLite application directly into SQLite folder. Then we created a GUI folder, and into this we have installed a application to access SQLite using graphical user interface, which is called SQLite Studio. Now we need the data, actual data, or in other words, we need tables. We need to work with the tables. So we need sample data. So I'm going to put some sample data. So to copy the sample data, I use a different folder for that. So I create another folder under the same directory. So the folder name is DB, and in this directory I'll copy sample data. So there is a sample data by name Chinook. So I'll just copy this file. Okay, I'll copy this file. This is a SQLite file. It is a Chinook database, and I'll copy it into the DB folder. Right. Okay. Now I'll go back to SQLite folder, which is the main folder. So you can see under SQLite we have DB folder, which contains the actual data, and we are going to work with that data. And GUI folder, it contains an installation of SQLite Studio, which is a graphical user interface to work with SQLite. Now I'll go into GUI, and you can access, or we can access SQLite Studio here. So SQLite Studio. So this is the application. I double click on this. Now this opens SQLite Studio. Okay, there are some previous commands. Okay, so which are already here. So I'll just undo all these things. I'll remove the the old databases, old traces. Okay, so let me just undo all those things now. So this is what you see when you open SQLite Studio. It's a graphical user interface. Okay, a empty window. Okay, now I want to get the sample data in the DB into the SQLite, so which is a Chinook database. Now database is a collection of tables and relationships sometimes. So it is a organization of all the tables, which is a data set, or you can call each table as a data set. So it is an organization of all the data in your organization. So I'll go to database menu in the SQLite Studio. I will add a database. So the database file is in under C drive. There is SQLite. In the SQLite, there is a DB folder. In the DB folder, we have Chinook database file, okay, which actually contains the data. Double click on that and click OK. So this opens a database. So just double click on the database. You can see all the tables. You select one table. Let's say you click on albums table. You will see that there are 3 columns in this table. So this is a structure. Okay, I'll explain this structure a little later. But for now, let's look at the data. So you can see the data in this table. Okay, so you can access any table. First, you will see the structure, and then you can go to the data. Access a table, see the structure and data. Okay, so there are other, you know, tabs like constraints, indexes, triggers, and DDL. I'll talk about those a little later. Okay, now, so you can click on any table and access its structure, and you can see the data. Okay, and now we want to write some queries, database queries, or we want to write commands that we saw in the previous class, like select command with from clause and order by clause. So where do we do that? So you see this icon, you click on this, it will bring SQL editor where you can write the statements, SQL statements or SQL commands, or you can go to tools, select open SQL editor. So you can do it either way. From tools menu, choose open SQL editor, or from this ribbon, just click on the SQL editor. So here you can write your SQL statements. Select 10 plus 55, and now execute this by clicking this run button. So 10 plus 55, the answer is 65. So this is how we install and we set up the environment for our sessions. Thank you all. See you in the next session.